from different places, we all have different names. No matter what life brings us, Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness.
Hi guys, how's it going?
It's
hi.
awesome.
What's happening? Maybe
That just sounded so fake to me because I said we were going to count down, and then I did. And I was just like, hi guys.
Wait,
with an
was there a
energy
countdown?
yeah, I went 3, 2, 1, and then, hi, how's it going?
I thought it was supposed to be like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, kind of like a rocket
we're
ship
not.
or something.
We're not going to space.
We don't have time for that, Tim.
You're not going
It's got to
to
be
space.
3 or less. Can you tell that Jonah and I are working on greater than and less than and math when we're not trying to deal with Jessica's text messaging cell phone problems that are showing up as our word problems on Jonah's homework?
I love it. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah,
What
I
have
love
you guys
that.
been up to this past week?
Oh,
Before I jump in here, I was going to say that I'm really happy that Beth and Jonah are doing word problems. Not that they're actually doing the word problems, but that they mentioned word problems, because earlier before we started recording, I'm like, there's every third episode of this podcast that I'm always saying something about word problems. And so now we have legitimate example of word problems here, like real life example. Very exciting.
We'll let you
Yeah.
stick to the word problems, Tim, and then Beth
Yeah.
will bring the life problems.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Okay.
Tim,
Okay.
speaking
Excellent.
of Tim's word problems, what's going on with you this week, Tim?
I figure that I have a really good update for my my Lenten journey here. So you know how I said that I was going to do reading? Well, I'm actually doing it. And
Yay,
I'm
Tim.
super happy about that. And I think it was reinforced by this past Sunday with how basically it's going to take some level of discipline in order to stick to a Lenten pursuit. So I think it was Saturday or Friday or something like that. Most likely Saturday, where I actually caught myself on social media for an hour and a half, on YouTube, just wasting time. Actually, this was Sunday morning before I ended up singing in the praise band. And I'm like, okay, I have 3 hours to kill. All right, this is great. And then I wasted like an hour and a half to 2 hours on YouTube. And I didn't really feel bad about myself, but I'm like, I could have totally just read that entire time, read books, particularly the one that I'm trying to read, A Winter's Promise. And then I could also read First Things First. And there's plenty of other books. And so after that experience, I decided to just have a completely different mindset. I'm going to legitimately reduce the amount of things that I do in my free time so that I can focus that time and energy on reading books. And so it's kind of funny because in the very beginning of my deciding on my Lent idea, I was like, oh, well, I'm going to quit social media and I'm going to read books. Well, guess what? It's actually happened in reverse now. I ended up reading books, and in order to actually succeed at that, I have to limit my social media exposure and other activities potentially. So yeah, it's been really nice. And so consequently, I actually finished The Winter's Promise. I was 30 pages to the end, and I finished it. I was so happy. And
Nice.
yeah, thank you. And so now I need to decide whether I'm going to go into the second book in the series, because it's 4 books. Actually, the first book is part of a series called The Mere Visitor Quartet. And I guess quartet means 4 books. I only found that out because that's the only way to understand that. And so I got to decide if I want to read the second book or go on to a different series. One of my friends recommended this book called The Golden Compass, and I got a copy of it, and I'm considering reading
really
that
good.
book. Oh, you read it?
No, I haven't. Wait, what's The Golden Compass? Am I thinking of something else?
It's the His Dark Materials series.
Yes, I am thinking of the correct thing. There's a TV series out now that I watched part of, but kind of lost interest in, that I think Lin-Manuel Miranda has a small role or cameo in it or something.
Oh, wow.
So read
Nice.
the books. I've heard they're really good. And there's a TV show too that you should probably watch after so you can get the big brain picture before they take away lots of stuff in the
Right.
adaptation.
And then like you have the picture in your head of what they're supposed to look like in your imagination.
Yeah.
When you see the thing, then you're just going to constantly be picturing them the entire time. You don't want to ruin that intimate experience that you have with your fictional, like first impression imagination kind of thing. What?
Tim, are you trying to tell me that not everybody is imagining Jason Mraz as the male character in every book that I've ever read? Not everybody's doing that, just me? I'm just kidding. I don't really do that, but that'd be pretty funny. Sorry, Tim.
You had me going there, Beth. Maybe, I was thinking that actually was what you were doing with every character in the books.
I'm a silly little person, but I'm not that silly. That's probably a lie. Don't lie, detector me. Sorry, Tim. I'm infringing on your time.
Oh, that's okay. I think it's adding to it, honestly.
Okay. As long as it's not taking away from the little time that I'm taking away. Okay.
So the other thing is, I noticed that it's actually really helping me to listen to trance progressive music when I'm doing just about anything. Like if I'm working or just like doing things at home or whatever, like there's this one radio station that I just found, internet radio station. It's called party107.com. And they have like trance progressive, like EDM kind of music, like playing 24/7 with no commercials. And I was pleased to find that this music, it totally appeals to me. And it's like a nice website and it like just a clean interface and everything. And you just press the play to start the station. And so, yeah, it's just kind of like added like some additional enjoyment to my workday, like particularly today. And like I can still focus while listening to it. It just makes everything a little bit more exciting and so forth. Like I think the repetition kind of brings forth that maybe not extra focus, but focus in a different way. And if I'm feeling kind of tired or like something, then that music gets me really motivated to work on something. And so it's like super cool. I mean, pink noise is always there. I could listen to pink noise if I can't listen to music. But lately I've been finding that music's been really therapeutic. So, but for those people that can't listen to music, but you need something to focus, pink noise is always there. So it's like bouncing between pink noise and music, pink noise and music.
Or if you can't listen to your own music, just sing your own songs. Problem solved.
Oh, yes, indeed. That's what you could do in the shower. Mm-hmm. You could sing your own songs. You don't have to.
Oh, that reminds me. Okay. I have another thing.
Very nice. I can't say that I'll be singing in the cold showers, though. Cold showers, all you can think about is the cold water, not some song that you happen to have in your head.
Tim, I figured out the greatest life hack for showers for me, and I will explain later. Jessica, what's going on with you? Well, I'll go. Jessica's talking real quick. Do you want me to go, Jessica?
I can fill you guys in.
Okay, excellent.
Because there hasn't been a whole lot. But
just pregnant and miserable. Okay, done.
Indigestion.
I
thought I was the only one with indigestion.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say I thought I was the only one with pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to congratulate you for being the first assigned male at birth. Male.
I thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was.
You're right. He would be the second. I forgot about that. You are so right, Jessica. I'm so sorry. I love that movie. It holds up. I watched it just like maybe a year ago. It's still so funny. I think I probably didn't get it when I was a kid, though. And I get it now, and it's hilarious.
It's so funny. I love it.
Yeah. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but man, that was a funny movie.
Yeah.
Jonah and I are really into Danny DeVito right now, too. I'll get into that later, but.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask.
We're watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia together.
That's what I was wondering.
Yep. And we're loving it so much. I wouldn't recommend it to the church congregation as a whole because it is rough. You have to have like the sense of humor to be able to sustain watching it.
I grew up with Danny DeVito, like Matilda, you know.
Oh yeah.
Playing the dad.
Oh.
So anyway, but
That's
other than that, other than indigestion, yeah, we have weekly appointments now, and so we'll be heading down to Valencia this Thursday, I think, is our appointment. And then obviously the following week. But but yeah, I think we're just kind of like getting ready for stuff and trying to get a lot of work stuff done and doing the best we can. I think Amber's more nervous about me somehow going into labor early because she's
because she loves you.
Well, she's like, I have so much work to do, and
no, I totally feel for her.
Break. She has all this planning to do still, so I'm like, even if I start having contractions, I'll be hesitant to be like, yeah, so hey, I know it's your lunch break, or you're teaching like writing skills right now, but I'm like totally contractions.
Tell Amber that I don't know the legalities of this, but if she ever wants me to just be a surprise sub and shit in her class, I totally do it.
Oh wow.
And I'd be like, new plan, we're gonna play rock band, and I'm gonna just like Jack Black them School of Rock style.
Yeah.
Except I don't have the knowledge of instruments to do that, so it's gonna be even more terrible. They'll love it though.
Sure.
We'll have fun. It's gonna be a lot of noise. Sorry, Jessica.
Yeah, no. Anyway, I feel like, you know, every weekend we're trying to take advantage of a little bit of things to do and try to like work on certain things. But, you know, I think we're just kind of at peace with like, whenever this happens, it's going to happen. And the things that are on our list, they're going to, you know, we'll get to them at some point. And we're just really excited to become parents at this point. You know?
Oh yeah.
And we were like, oh my gosh, we're going to have a baby for Easter this year. It's amazing.
Yes.
So,
that's wonderful.
So it's very exciting to think about these kinds of things. And like, I start paying attention to like expiration dates of things. And I'm like, oh my God, I'll have gone into labor most likely before this expires.
I remember that feeling. It used to freak me out so much. I'm like, oh, that date is, I'll probably have a baby by then, but I don't want to go through this having a baby process. I just want to skip to the part where I'm not pregnant anymore.
Right. Exactly. Oh my gosh.
I feel like that's just the fear of the unknown because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. And I think I struggled with that for a while. And I think at this point, I've just kind of come to peace with the fact that like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And
I agree.
It's going to be crazy. But, I think as long as I've got a good support system around me, I think that's
and you do
of bringing me to peace with everything. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, basically every week my update's going to be
still pregnant, waiting on baby.
Yeah, and just with that being said, for anybody listening, when that time does come where I do go into labor, be patient with us with the turnaround time on the recordings and us uploading podcasts. So just kind of like a forewarning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'm sure we'll all understand. I won't, but they might.
Yeah. Tim and Beth have a plan for what to come, but I just think, be prepared for that.
Tim, also, I'll tell you this now, but Tim, you and I can talk outside of the podcast to discuss what we think that we might want that to look like for us. And we'll obviously run it by you too, Jessica, before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It'll be
sounds good.
Exciting.
So Jessica, if I'm understanding you correctly, Tim and I are just going to pump out episodes while you're having a baby, and then you'll just upload them when you can.
Totally. And
So
I'm
that's what's gonna
excited about
happen.
it because
I am
it'll
too.
allow for me to listen to all of the podcasts and I'll feel like I'm part of it. And then
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
mentally I need to be able to continue
Yeah.
stimulating my brain, and so
I'm kind of excited for you and a little jealous that you get to experience the podcast as like a listener
Oh,
and not as
yeah.
a host, you know?
I
And so you'll be
know.
like, what are Beth and Tim up to this week? And that, I think that's
Right.
going to be fun for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll be with us in spirit, Jessica. Well, we might even refer to you several times throughout every episode. So
I have one request though, should you be willing to accept it. And really, I should ask should Amber be willing to accept it? She needs to listen with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
Ooh.
probably be doing that. I was thinking, if anything, it'll be when it's like 1:30 in the morning and we're feeding the child, and
probably, yeah. You know what? Yeah, that could be something you could do too. You don't have to like edit them at the time, but like maybe like at the 1:30 in the morning, you could pre-listen to them so you can know what to edit out later.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we'll just keep cranking these out for you, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But what about you, Beth? What have you been up to?
Yeah, what's happening, Beth?
I've got not a literal, but a laundry list of things I'd like to tell you all about.
Not actual laundry, but a laundry
not
list.
Actual laundry. Although, before I forget, Jessica, I wanted to tell you like a fun little fact about Owen in his first year of life. So yeah. So he was born on March 29th, and then I think Easter was in April. This was in 2007, so you can fact check this if you want. But so he was born on March 29th, and then an Easter happened at some point. I don't remember which day. Like that whole time was a blur. I had a newborn. And then, you know how Easter always changes?
Yeah. Now it's like super late this year.
It depends who's deciding when Easter is? Because I would like to have a word. I don't want to change it. I just want to know how they're deciding this. Because in Owen's first year because there was Easter on Jonah's birthday one year too. And his birthday is April 1st. That was very confusing for all of us in the McCoy family anyway. But, so Owen's birthday, he was born March 29th via C-section. He was 9 pounds, 6 ounces. I don't remember how long he was. That was almost 18 years ago. But then, so March 2008 rolls around and Easter came before Owen's birthday. I don't remember what day it was on, but Easter had 2 Owens before he was one, but strike that, reverse it. And so I just thought that was kind of fun. Owen got to have 2 Easters before he was even a year old. I should ask him if he remembers that and how he felt about it, because probably the answer is like, I don't remember, and I was probably crying. So anyway, so I'm just going to like run by these. And so, Tim, the first thing I wanted to say is that I went into the sanctuary a little bit early while I waited for children's time to start. And that was the first time I got to see you sing with the praise band, and you all sounded really good. So congratulations on that, Tim.
Oh, thank you.
And also, like, sitting there listening to the songs was making me so happy that I was like, why don't I just come in like when the songs start and listen to the songs and get that joy for my day and then start Sunday school? So I think I'm going to start doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then I don't remember if I told you guys this last week because time's a blur, but I started seeing a new psychiatrist and a new therapist within the same week. And my new psychiatrist figured out in 30 minutes what was probably happening with me and my brain chemistry. And so I felt more understood and seen by her than I had in the 4 years I was seeing my previous psychiatrist. Like, I kept trying to tell him, I don't think my meds are working and all of this. And I just but he wasn't understanding, I guess, what I meant by that, because he was making his own assumptions about what was happening in my brain, but that's not what was happening. And so I'm on different medications now, and they seem to be working because now, and I'm on an ADHD medication, and I'm just telling you guys this in case it might be helpful for you later. But
for me, for sure, that's my plan.
Right,
if at some point,
right,
if I'm able to try it, I would love
right.
to. It
So
hasn't been possible.
So I was on so many different ADHD medications, and none of them were working. I kept telling him they're not working. He's like, well, let's try more. Let's try less. Let's try this. Let's try that. And nothing worked. And so like this psychiatrist was like, oh, well, he only ever had you on extended release ones. And what you probably need is a rapid release.
Oh.
And so here's the funny thing about ADHD. I misread. She gave me permission to try different things with my meds to see what would work. So I misread my label, and I was only supposed to take one pill 2 times a day. But I was just like, okay, so I take 2 pills 2 times a day. Yep, that sounds right. Didn't check, didn't do anything. But then I was like, wait. My brain feels slower. It doesn't feel like all my thoughts are swirling. It feels like my thoughts are in different thought compartments, and I can actually think through processes. And I'm like, does that mean my medicine is working? Is this a happy accident? And so then I tried one pill the next day, and it wasn't as effective. So there's that.
Wow.
And well, I'll get. I have so much to say, but not enough time. So I'm going to switch down to.
You're fine.
Okay. Well. So Tim, I'm going to tell you, I've started what I'm calling Life Hacks for Beth. I have so many different plans that I'm doing for my life right now that is helping me just like, just muddle my way through life like the silly little goose that I am, and like silly goose here, silly goose there. But like I have trouble with showering sometimes. Like I know I'm supposed to do it, but like getting myself in the shower and actually doing it sometimes is too many steps.
Right.
So I was like, okay, how can we make this better for Beth? So my life hack for the new shower life is I was like, okay, I think I'd prefer to sit down in the shower chair. Check. And then I was like, okay, well, now I don't have anything to doom scroll. I'm just sitting in the shower. And then I'm like, how can we do this? Oh, I'm going to get one of those, waterproof things so I can just sit down in the shower and scroll on my phone. And it's really hard to doom scroll because like the plastic gets in the way and like you can't do the stuff. What I've been doing is I've been putting on my Apple Music. And like, they have the lyrics so you can like follow along with the lyrics. So I just put on my Apple Music and sing in the shower. That's how I'm singing in the shower. And today I told Jonah I was going to get ready at a specific time. And I kept looking at my clock. I was trying to send somebody a text message. And I was like, I'm not going to have time to finish the text message. I need to take a shower. And I'm like, oh, wait, I can just finish the text message in the shower. I also feel like it's the greatest life hack because I get to have my cake and eat it too, basically. And I think that's amazing.
The next step is figuring out how to have meals in the shower now.
We'll get to that. It's probably going to be soup related or like protein shakes with a lid on it, but I think we can do it. So there's that. And then I also feel like I've been really into Wicked lately, and like if you guys haven't watched Wicked, it's so great, but it's also like a whimsical version of what's happening in our world right now, and it's so fascinating to me. It makes me really sad, but that's for another day. I'm also in my defying gravity era, and anyway, since my brain's been able to slow down and think more clearly, I think it's freaking Owen out because he doesn't understand the change or where it's coming from. But I'm just what I'm really just trying to do is make sure that we're all on the same page about something instead of just assuming that we know what everybody's thinking. Because that's been our problem for like this whole time we lived in this house. And I'm like, oh, that's the problem because Jonah thinks we're doing something else. I think we're doing something else. Anyway, so wicked is whimsical, real life, but life's too short to be sad. So I've decided to participate in what I call the creature comfort life. And so I'm just going to do dumb things that make me happy. And today's dumb thing that made me happy, which I think Owen only just added to the fact that Owen's like, something's different with mom. And I don't know how to process it yet. He had a really hard day and he's tired. So that's part of it.
Right.
But we just happened to find ourselves on Lancaster Boulevard today because that's where the boys go to the eye doctor. And do you guys know that today, March 10th, is Mario Day?
What?
It is.
Wait,
Yeah.
What is that?
It's March 10th. So spell out MAR and then put a 10 on it and it spells out Mario. So March 10th is Mario Day.
Oh, wow.
I'm almost done. They don't know that there's a timer, but the Oscar timer just went off and told me I need to stop talking about my update. But
it's Mario Day.
Yeah, it's Mario Day. We had to walk by this like retro store on the boulevard to get back to our cars. It's pretty close to our optometrist. And they sell like, it's a really nerdy store. Do you know it, Tim? Was that offensive? I don't know. No, being a nerd isn't offensive. Like, it's not. Like my family they're proud to be nerds. But anyway.
Yeah, it's a compliment if somebody thinks I'm a nerd.
Right. Okay. I just didn't want you to misinterpret where I was coming from. But they've got all sorts of stuff. They've got like any like plushie that you can imagine. Like, and so I told the boys, I'm like, since we're walking past this store anyway, we're going to go in and you need to buy something that's Mario, a plushie. And Jonah was like, well, I don't want to. And I'm like, but you have to. And so, I made Owen pick one out. I can't remember which one he picked out, but I picked one out for me, and it was the Dr. Mario version of Mario. And then the one I picked out for Craig, because I was like, nope, we're all doing this now. Everybody gets treats. I'm trying to be the Oprah of spreading, like joy and just like the simplest ways possible, because life's really hard right now.
Yeah.
And Craig's is Mario riding a green Yoshi. So
nice.
So, oh no, never mind. I was going to say, go get your Mario stuff before it's too late, but it's already too late. I forgot how time works. So, be prepared for next year, you guys. Be prepared. You can get ready for next year. So you're early for that.
Yeah, I think right now we're getting ready for next year. And then hopefully we'll be ready for next year by the time it is next year. But most of the time, that's not the case. At the end of the year, we're finally used to writing 2025, but then it's 2026.
I know.
And we have to get used to it all over again.
I know. That's the hard part.
Well, that sounds pretty awesome, though.
Yeah,
you were able to.
Yeah. That's really exciting, Beth. That you found a means, like basically with like psychiatry, and then like your life hacks. That's fantastic. That's so inspiring. Actually, it kind of reminds me of how I'm getting so much like enjoyment and therapy from reading that book, First Things First. And I forgot to mention, I'll make this quick. The ways to find out what is important in life, how you want to focus on things that are important, but not urgent, and then are urgent and important when you have to. The things that are important follow 4 things: to live, to love, to learn, and to leave a legacy. So that's what characterizes what's important. And maybe next episode, what?
Laugh.
What?
It's 5 things, Tim. The 5th one is laugh.
Yes. Yep. Oh my gosh. I love that.
I'm adding it. I was like, if Tim doesn't say laugh, I'm adding it.
Live, that's so laugh. Exciting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm so glad we laugh on this podcast as much as we do. Now we have to laugh every day. Yep. That's excellent.
Well, before I dive into the church updates, I do want to mention the explanation of, there's a lot of shuns that I'm about to say. the explanation of the calculation for Easter computation.
What?
So
That was too much. Let me process that. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So the date of Easter is determined by a calculation that takes into account the lunar calendar, the solar year, and the calendar's month, date, and weekday. And it says the calculation is called Computus Paschalis, Latin for Easter computation.
Okay.
So just thought I'd let you guys know that.
Do you know what's weird?
That's wonderful.
You know what's so weird?
What?
That's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
I thought.
I'm just kidding.
I knew it.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. Before we go into the updates, Jessica, can I ask you, are you familiar? Do you have a spaghetti policy? Do you know what that is?
What?
A spaghetti policy?
Yeah.
Spaghetti?
What is your spaghetti policy?
I probably not if I have no idea what this means.
Okay, I'll tell you later. There's no time to get into it now, but I'll tell you later.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask in case you might have understood the reference, but
I
I'll
love
tell you
spaghetti.
later too. I know, I'll tell you later also, Tim. But
oh good.
And if anybody wants to know about the spaghetti policy, I'll tell you in person. I just don't want to take up more. I want the podcast to go more efficiently, and that doesn't need to be in the podcast. So
I might just start saying spaghetti over and over. So it'd probably be good to proceed.
I want that for you. Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about what's happening this Thursday, but I do want a 10-second update on how the escape room was yesterday.
Oh my goodness. I forgot to mention about the escape room, and I think it went well. I was doing the prep, and Pastor Jim wrote me very detailed notes, which I'm sure were very good. No, they were very good, but my brain misinterpreted what he was trying to say, what we were doing. So I put everything together wrong. So then we had to fix all of that. And then that put me back behind on everything else, because that's prep that should have already been done. And I thought it was, but I did it wrong. So, and that's one thing I forgot to mention in my update, was that I could tell that my meds were working, because there were things that were beyond my control that would have sent me in an emotional spiral, and I would have been crying. And one of the clues, I kept telling Miriam, I'm going to keep all of the stuff together, so I don't accidentally leave it at home or something. So all the messy church stuff has either been in my car or in my office. I was very careful not to bring any home. And one of the clues I couldn't find, and I knew that I couldn't. Miriam and I did some prep at her house, and so I didn't know if they were there or not. But instead of panicking, I called Miriam, and I calmly told her, "Hey, Miriam, I'm panicking. Can you remind me what I might have done with these puzzles?" And she's like, "Okay, well, you said you were going to keep them and blah, blah, blah. And they're probably in your car." And I'm like, "Okay, in my car."
Oh.
And I already looked in my car, and they weren't there. So I went back to my car, and they weren't there. So they ended up being in my office, but even that right there could have just sent me into a meltdown, and then everything would be terrible. So I compared it to running around like a chicken with my head on. So I was still running around like crazy, but my brain was somehow clear enough that I could delegate things to other people. And that might also be not just my medication, but a byproduct of the boundaries class that I've been leading. So it's I now know how to ask for stuff, and I'm now giving my permission to ask for stuff. It's oh no, I can't ask them. They'll be mad at me. And I've been able to I've also been doing what I've been calling what would Jody do? Or, WWJD. I just made that up. I don't think it's taken. But what Jody does is before she does something, like she thinks of all the possible things that she might need. And so like, and my brain doesn't work like that, like automatically. That's not how my brain works. But I've been able to like, okay, what do we need? What do we need to do first? What do we need to do first to make everything run smoothly? And I'm able to be like, okay, here's what I need from you. Here's what I need from you.
Wow.
And so like, and not in a panicky way. And I was in the kitchen with Jonah and Pat Waters, and we were making the dinner. And as I'm like, okay, Pat, here's what you're gonna do. Okay, Jonah, here's what you're gonna do. I'm like, whoa, I'm totally Carmi from the bear. And then I was like, all right, Jonah, Pat, from now on, whenever I give you an order, I want you to say, yes, chef. And then Pat was like, yes, chef. And then Jonah was like, no. And I was like, I think you mean no, chef. And he was like, but I didn't agree to it. And I was like, well, you did answer, and I need you to answer with no, chef. He still didn't do it, so he's grounded for the rest of his life. But, that's showbiz, baby. Oh, and then, I'm just kidding. Owen and Craig actually, usually I would enlist them to help, but I thought it would be more fun for them to actually participate in it because they like that kind of stuff. I like being in charge of the stuff, so I don't have to do it. Yeah. But then Craig and Owen finished the escape room, and then Craig came back and started to ask me if I needed help in the kitchen. And then so I told him what to do. And then I think it was Pat who probably said, you need to say yes, chef. And then or I said, Craig, I'm having everybody say yes, chef to me when I give them instructions. And then Craig, it made me laugh so hard. He was like, don't you mean yes, Jeff? And that's only funny if you guys watch The Bear, because just watch The Bear. I don't want to spoil the reference. It'll be a fun surprise for you. But yeah. So that made me laugh really hard.
I just thought the transition from chef to Jeff was seamless, and that's why I was laughing. I don't know the reference though. Well,
I'm going to tell you actually. He was working he was left the diner because his brother left it to him after he passed away. And he's a New York City professional chef, and with order, which is not the way diners run, but he thought it was a more efficient method. So he wanted there to be order in the kitchen. And if I give you an order, you say, yes, chef. But because some of them were stubborn and, we're like, we don't know you. We don't want to change our whole life. She would say, yes, Jeff, because it was an insult to him because she didn't want to have him tell her what to do. So.
Oh, okay.
But then later when they kind of understand each other, she still calls him Jeff, but it's in an affectionate way. And it's my favorite. So
nice.
Watch The Bear, you guys.
What is it called again?
The Bear. Tim?
The Bear.
I think you might have some anxiety. It's such a good show.
The third season is very anxiety driven, but other than that, I think it's really
no. The second season is 2. The episode with the family dinner. That's the most stressed out I've ever been in my life.
The 7 fishes.
Yes, the 7 fishes. Yeah. Let me rephrase that. That's the most stressed out I've ever been in my life watching a television show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But season 1, I think,
is be for relaxation. It's still a little bit because I used to work in a restaurant, so those feelings come back for me. All the orders, and they need to go out, and I'm like, oh. So anyway, wait, did we do this?
Speaking of restaurant, speaking of restaurants orders, this Thursday is a senior luncheon.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Inga's back. I saw her in her sparkly leather jacket. So go to that, you guys.
That is from 11:30 in the morning to 1 o'clock. And then on Friday is Amelia's Memorial at 9 a.m. That's when it starts. Then this Saturday, the Alpha course kicks off at 12:30, and that goes until, this one says 2:30, but on the screen at church it said 3:30. So
I'll get clarification if you want and get back to you. I can ask tomorrow at the staff meeting.
well, when you sign up on the app, maybe it has more clarification. But yeah, ask Beth if you want to know for sure. And then on Sunday,
Or Jeannie, just ask Jeannie.
or Jeannie, yeah.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, John 3:16, it's the unofficial women's meeting. And that's at 10:15 in the fireside room.
I'm really excited about that because I already have some ideas twirling around about what we can do in the church and like fun events. And maybe not just for the women, maybe for church events just in general. I've got some ideas cooking and I'm really excited.
Yeah. So I think I'll keep those as our updates, and that we have a few other things coming up, but I think those are the most ones that are directly coming up. So we're going to go ahead and dive into our Methodist moment, which is brought to you by Lenten. And it'll be a quick little update, but the Methodist moment is brought to you by Lenten and also Tim. So
but this is the Lenten moment. We're changing it to Lenten moment.
Yes.
The Lenten moment. Wow.
Yeah.
So take it away, Lenten.
Let's hear your Lenten moment.
So to kick off Lent, we on Sunday had all the wonderful things, the singing, Pastor Jim's sermon, but then on the 11 o'clock service, we actually had a graffiti wall with a special request. Instead of just writing something down on the wall, it was take a picture of one of the scriptures, and then the one that resonates most with you, make that sort of like the signal or something that you continually refer to throughout the Lenten season. So I thought this was so inspiring. However, I didn't actually get a chance to take a picture of any of them. And so I texted Pastor Jim, and he actually went ahead and sent me all the scriptures. So I'm going to go ahead and read those for the podcast here. And for those of you listening, and Jessica, Beth, you can let me know what you think as well if the Spirit leads you. But I'm going to go ahead and read those now. So I'm quoting from the New Revised Standard Version Updated Edition. If there's a translation that's more suitable to you, then go ahead and follow along with that translation or read it on another time. But I'm going to go ahead and read from that translation now. So the first scripture that we have here is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind, so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. The second scripture is Hebrews chapter 2, verse 18. Because he himself was tested by what he suffered, he is able to help those who are being tested. The next one is Psalms chapter 119, verses 11. I treasure your word in my heart, so that I may not sin against you. And finally, the last verse is 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. No testing has overtaken you that is not common to everyone. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tested beyond your strength. But with the testing, he will also provide the way out so that you may be able to endure it. So I thought that all these scriptures were really insightful and amazing, and just really does capture the Lenten practice and the spirit. And I think the scripture that resonated the most with me is something I might have quoted in one of the episodes here on the podcast, and that's the do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind. And I think that is something that resonates really strongly with me, because the idea that my mind is renewed is something that just appeals to me so much, based on the fact that there's like so many factors that contribute to that. Like not only the Holy Spirit that dwells within us, but also following after Jesus, you have like opportunities to like transform yourself. Those who find their lives, or those who try to find their lives will lose it, but those who lose their lives for my sake will find it. And so that's like the transformation of the self, or in this case, renewal of the mind, is something that just like as I have my Christian journey here, my faith journey, that's what I've noticed over time. And I just feel blessed that I have that opportunity to follow Jesus and experience that renewal over and over again. I think that that's kind of what happens as you follow Jesus. You're transformed in so many ways, like not only the renewal of your mind, but also the transformation of the self, and also the transformation of your character. And so I think that the Lenten season really brings us forward into that transformation ever more so. So yeah, that's what I got here, basically.
I love it.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
It's good first version. I don't know what the word is that I'm trying to think of. It's the very first inaugural Lenten moment.
No, it's not Lentim moment. It's Lenten moment.
Lenten moment.
Lenten
We're
moment.
sharing the M with the Tim in the moment because of efficiency.
Lenten moment.
Yeah, it's the Lenten moment. Bless you.
Yes.
That's great. Very nice.
Which now leads us into, guys, I'm really excited about this one.
I am too.
Me too.
Our sermon feedback.
Sermon feedback.
And we get to learn from the trees. That is the title of our Lenten sermon series. This past Sunday, we focused on 2 trees in Eden. And we read through Genesis chapter 2 through 3. And it was really nice to be able to go through this again. We had done a Bible study with Pastor Jim about like the different like versions and translations of the Bible. And this was one of the parts of the Bible that we went through and dove into. So it was nice to hear it again. But it was also nice to focus in on like the different kinds of trees and the change of perspective for this. So the 2 trees that are highlighted were the tree of life, and then the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So when we, in general, we're given very little insight about these trees. So I'm curious what you guys kind of thought and what your takeaways were. And I'm saying this because we're all considered Adam, which means human beings. Even though
I thought
you have gender designation, I think all of us do, but for reference, Adam means.
In other communities, Adam is something completely different, but we won't go into that.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay, good.
I don't know what that is, but that
not
was
appropriate.
And that's like Adam. That's kind of where Adam comes from, is Adam, and then with Eve, it's life.
Right. Yeah, so it's like Adam is human being, right? And then Eve it's associated with life. That's very nice.
Yes.
I thought that there was multiple things in this sermon that were like, so the way that I would capture this sermon, like I just really enjoyed it ultimately, but it was just very refreshing. Basically is how I would describe it. Just the idea, like, okay, so before like Adam, or Dusty in this case, had a helper, it basically was referring to him as a human being, not having the like that specific designator that he's necessarily masculine. I think that's like a really cool, like gender inclusivity sort of understanding, and it's respectful of like not only the Bible as a whole, that it's much more gender inclusive than some groups think, but it also is respectful towards the original Hebrew and Greek and so forth that the Bible is like actually written as. So that's really nice. And then also like the other refreshing thing is I guess all the things I'm going to say are like that, but is the fact that the serpent is well, he's crafty and clever, and he's not actually like there's no reference to him actually being Satan or the devil, and I think that's being totally respectful of the actual text and the story as it actually stands. And it makes it all the more intriguing. I'm really happy that Pastor Jim went ahead and said, well, the serpent could be based on a sensible understanding here, but bringing this forth to Eve, or maybe he actually was trying to be deceptive. And so I'll jump into that shortly. But then the last thing that I wanted to mention in regards to what Pastor Jim was saying is I like that term etiology, how there's like explanations in the Genesis story here that kind of explain the circumstances that we find ourselves here in our lives and so forth, like, you know, the snakes or the serpents, like being on the ground and childbirth and like men like toiling and so forth. That it's very fascinating. But also like the etiology sort of falls into, I think, even more than that in a way, because of like, so I would answer the question of the serpent being deceptive or sensible with, I think in a sense, he was actually being sensible and bringing forth that explanation to Eve, like, oh yeah, you know, Eve, you'll have the opportunity to know good and evil. That why wouldn't you want that opportunity to figure that out and be able to see that for yourself? And so like it's kind of a curiosity in general. And so the etiological part of this is that that kind of like sort of describes our culture or other like stories in the Bible. Like for example, in the book of Judges, like Pastor Jim had mentioned about how like people did what was right in their own eyes. And so that's like a perfect example of like what actually happens when human beings try to do like judge good and evil for ourselves. And then the other like side of the coin, or basically I guess the same side, is like how before I was on my faith journey, I suppose I was sort of trying to judge what good and evil was without God. I mean, like when you're not a Christian or you don't have like spirituality or religion, then that's kind of what you're doing. And so to follow Jesus, for me to follow after God and love God and so forth, like I have a much better life than before I was doing that. And so like I think that's kind of like the core message of the Adam and Eve like Garden of Eden story. It's like when we do what God commands of us, then we end up having a much better, like more peaceful and loving life, basically. So yeah, I like that it's not this whole like Satan versus God kind of like understanding, but a more like relatable kind of understanding that we can have when we look at the actual like depictions in that story. It's like you have the knowledge of good and evil from the tree, and then you have the serpent providing some sort of thing that kind of is appealing in some like what you could think of as an innocent kind of way. So yeah, it provides a lot more meaning to me when I look at the story that way, versus what we're the story that we're given from misinterpretations or kind of reading more into the story than what it's actually being said.
Yeah. Beth, we have a few more minutes to talk about sermon feedback. Was there anything you want to mention? She's got some
I
big.
sure do. I had a phone call I needed to finish up. Really, I just forgot I was on mute.
A phone call with Jesus.
A phone call with Jesus is what I was doing.
Hey, phone in Jesus anytime.
So sometimes when I can't remember like specifics about something, like what Pastor Jim was talking about, I was listening and I was getting a lot out of it, but I don't remember the specific thing that he said. But I remember how it made me feel, and it was amusing. And I think he was talking about how, like, we're pointing fingers about, like, well, it wasn't Eve's fault. It was blah blah blah, and like, and that just it made me laugh because it made me think of 2-year-olds, and 2-year-olds I think is my favorite. I'm gonna say, let's see. I had this joke with Pastor John about I wanted to make something for Julian, but I didn't want him to know what it was. And so I was like, hey, what's Julian into these days? And then he was telling me, and then I knew he was going to have follow-up questions. So I was going to try to think of something to tell him, like, so he wouldn't know. Oh, no, I said, I'm making it for a friend and I want it to be a surprise and blah, blah, blah. But little did Pastor John know he was the friend that I was making it for. But I was like, yeah, I'm just really into 2-year-old culture. But but the way the 2-year-olds behave is so funny to me because, like, I don't know. They're just like these little free spirits, but they also have really strong opinions about what's theirs or what's wrong. And it's like, and then I read, so that made me think of 2-year-olds. And then it made me think about one time I read about how dogs are like, although they're very smart, they're smart, but they have the emotional intelligence of a 2-year-old. And I was like, yeah, that checks out. And that lines up about why I love dogs so much. And I'm my dog's favorite person in the whole world. Which dog, you say? Yes. Yeah. And so they follow me around all the time, and something my family does not feel bad for me, but I'm just always like, oh, you guys, it's so hard being adored by all these dogs and being their favorite. And they're like, okay, are your diamond shoes too tight and your wallet's too small for your 50s? I stole that reference from Friends, but I lost it. Oh, but they have to like problem solve for them as if they're 2-year-olds because they fight over like who can get on the couch. Like, and I know that I'm going to make space for each of them, but every time they seem to forget that. And so I'm like, no, Jovi, it's fine. You don't have to get mad at Stormy. This is your space. Stormy, you wait over here. Ricky, of course, I'm always going to play. So it's like, I have to like always like manipulate the situations, and I'm like, yeah, that does check out. So that's really the only observation I have.
What
about you, Jessica?
Yeah, what do you have, Jessica?
Well, I'll make it quick since we have to head into some prayer requests here. Not that we have to, we get to.
We get to.
But I just want to quickly mention, I do like how it's mentioned as like the origin story for humanity. It's not, I think a lot of people out of context, and like they take these verses out of context and they literalize them. That it's, because God created Adam and Eve, that's how all relationships are supposed to be.
That is canon.
And so it's really nice to be able to remember that it literally, like, we all were created without a gender, and it became more of a relational thing because we're meant to have companionship in life. And so That was always my biggest appreciation for the origin story. And
that's awesome
that we're able to kind of like see the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil as ways for us to kind of reflect on and grow, no pun intended, in our own journeys and our own spiritual journeys, whether it's growing in life with Jesus or in knowledge with Jesus. And so it's just that's kind of like my basic takeaway. And I don't like snakes. I'm like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Eat snakes.
Jessica, I just want to say one thing. You should always intend your puns. I do.
But yeah, so that's my takeaway. But we can go ahead and dive into prayer requests.
Well, Jessica, I just wanted to say one last thing. I really like how you said, well, first of all, I love that you mentioned that about how, like, basically when you put it together in like companionship and gender inclusivity, I think that was the intention behind that story. That's awesome. I'm really glad you said that. And then, mentioning the knowledge, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and then the tree of life. It's like, it's kind of like we have that knowledge of good and evil, but then we can always follow after God or follow Jesus. And I feel like when we do remember to follow Jesus, it's like that reminds me of the message that Jesus brought forward to that woman at the well. He's like, if you take the water from this well, you'll continually be thirsty. But if you accept the water that I give you, you will never be thirsty. And so that, I think, not necessarily is the tree of life, but it really, I think, appeals to that. It's like, that's really our like spiritual sustenance. And then we can actually live our lives in a whole way, like a totally like free way, in a sense, because we're not being held down by our faults and our guilt and our shame and so forth. God relieves us of all of that. So
yeah. Love it. Love the insight, guys. I'm excited to hear about more of the different kinds of trees in the Bible moving forward.
Yeah, me too.
Lots to look forward to. But what are your guys' prayer requests for this next week? Anything in particular that you can think?
Yeah. I have a quick one.
Go for it, Beth.
As you may or may not know, maybe you don't know. That's why I'm telling you. Owen is a senior in high school this year, and he will be graduating soon. I know it happens in the blink of an eye. But because his high school journey has been a little bit rocky, and like we tried, it was his 10th grade year actually that kind of threw him off course for like graduating. He's not in danger of graduating or anything, but like there's I can't remember what they call it, but it's like a class that it's like an independent study type class. It's a supplemental independent study type class that he just needs to like get through on his own time in order to graduate. And I have no faith that he can do it. And I've told him that myself, but he's really stressed out about it. And I think he thought he had until I think he thought he had until the end of April or May, and he had planned accordingly to get that done in that amount of time. But now he's hearing that it has to be done by the end of March. So he's kind of stressing about that a little bit. And I know he's going to get through it, and I'm going to try to get him all the help that he might possibly need. But he needs to get through it.
Wow. But absolutely, Beth.
We'll be thinking of Owen. Gosh, I can't believe he's a senior. I mean, I can't either. But it's like, I hope he doesn't feel pressure to have to go and do something next. I mean,
No, I'm not. I have not put that pressure on him, and he's putting
from like others, you know.
No, not from this household, but like because I think that he's already really worried about that. And like, I think in his mind, he thinks that when he turns 18, he's just an adult and he doesn't get help from the outside world. He just has to figure it out. But I keep telling him like, no, we're still going to be here. And like, so what I'm doing on my part right now to kind of help him out is kind of like doing the stuff that I can do for him before he turns 18. So he needs, I told him I'd make a dermatology appointment for him to clear up, the teenage dermatology issues. And we just went to the eye doctor today, so we got that taken care of. And then I want to start like getting the process of braces going. I don't think it actually changes anything on our side because he's still on our insurance, but like it's like how your due date is a scary number and like, oh, what's going to happen? It's so I feel like on his part, it's like the fear of the unknown of what being 18 and legally an adult is like. It's like his child safety net is being taken away. And I'm not trying to add any more pressure on that. So I'm just trying, like, he won't have to pay for his braces or anything because he's still on our insurance. That's not going to change anything for him. But like his brain, I think, is still trying to wrap his mind around everything. And so I'm just trying to take everything off of his plate that I can so he doesn't have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
And I even told him, don't tell anybody this. I'm telling the whole podcast. He's like, look,
it's relatable. It's relatable.
I know. Well, as people with ADHD, like this is what we have to do sometimes. I was like, you're going to get it done. It might kill you in the process with your hyper focus when you're staying up till 3 a.m, but it will get done. And I told him, I was like, don't tell anybody I told you this, as she tells the whole podcast. But I was like, Owen, you've already been accepted to AVC and your grades are good and everything else. And like, I wouldn't even be mad if you just skipped all of the reading part or whatever he has to do and then just take the test. And like, the only goal you need, and he's a smart kid, so I don't think it's going to be an issue, but I'm like, all you need to do is get a D or higher. If you don't care about your GPA, I don't care about your GPA. And I was like, high school isn't real. It's a made up social construct. And
so he's going to AVC.
Oh yeah, and he wants to
That's so exciting.
Yeah, and he wants to take his generals at AVC, and then there's a program at the community college in Moore Park. It's a zoology program that he wants to do. So.
Oh wow,
that's really,
that's powerful.
Smart with going to AVC. I people would get their like liberal arts courses taken care of at like a local college because it's so much cheaper. And it's not as intense, and it's like you get them knocked out.
Yeah.
It's like work smarter, not harder. And he gets to stay close to home for like
totally
first year. And so
that's absolutely the way to go.
So I have every confidence that he can get this done, but I just know it's going to be stressful on his little teenage brain.
Yeah. So,
yep.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Beth. Yeah. Prayers for Owen to get through all of that.
Yeah. Tim, what about you?
So I guess mine is kind of a simple prayer. A prayer for me to continue on this path.
He's a simple man with a simple prayer.
Not sure if I'm a simple man.
I had to. I don't know why. Yeah, I can see that about you. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sorry, Tim.
Yeah, so really like simple in the sense of just continued prayers for, well, I don't know if I asked for prayers. No, I did. So continued prayers for me on my Lenten journey, and actually continuing to follow through with like my reading habit. I think it's really like transforming my like perspective on things. And I forgot to mention this, but like basically by my deciding to read more, it's actually causing me to start thinking about all the other stuff that I'm doing in my life at the same time, because it's like, it's kind of hard to like sit there and read a book. I mean,
yes, it is.
Like, and so like, you kind of have to be in the right mindset. And so like that's caused me to like feel like I need to be in the right mindset for other things too. So like it's actually motivating me to be more productive, or like ultimately just focus on important things. So like the First Things First book is perfect for this. Like so if I'm not reading a book, what am I doing? Well, if I'm relaxing, then I got to relax in the right way. Like maybe I'm like praying to God, or I'm just like sitting there, like reflecting on how I can go about my time, and like kind of like being more present. And so that kind of falls into like mindfulness, or being more spiritual, or connecting with God more. And then like I'm thinking about how I can maybe make my life easier, like maybe cleaning more, or focusing on like studying or learning more and stuff like that. So yeah, like this reading habit is just like making my life so much better. And so, yeah, just prayers for me to continue on that path, and maybe find some exciting fiction book to read or something like that.
Yes.
And one of you said some good advice. Basically, you don't have to like read fiction the entire time. You can switch off between nonfiction, fiction, and
read what you want to read, Tim.
Yeah,
That's what it's there for.
Exactly. Just give up on a book if I have to.
Yeah.
And like,
right. If you don't like it, life's too short to read books you don't want to read.
Right, indeed. And one thing that I found, like something really like remarkable that I didn't expect, is I actually enjoy reading the book like with my eyes instead of listening to the book. Like
I knew what you meant, but because you said with my eyes, it made me laugh. Sorry.
I like to read with my elbows.
I've been reading with my butt this whole time. With your eyes was even an option, so thank you for sharing that.
Well, I mean, if we're thinking about reading with your eyes, then I guess a lot of people like to read with their ears, and that's what audiobooks are.
Yeah. So, what about?
Yeah.
Oh,
anyways,
sorry,
that's pretty much all I got.
Okay, thanks, Tim. What about you, Jessica? Oh, we'll pray for that, Tim.
Thank you.
I think on my end, it's ultimately just like embracing every day and trying to remember the little things and find joy in the little things. And you know, the amount of time that Amber and I do have left where it's just us two in the house, like I'm really hoping that we can take advantage of little moments to really you know, spend time together and enjoy what's left of summer.
Yeah.
It's YOLO pregnancy edition is what you're pregnancy.
So that's, I think, my prayers for us to be able to kind of experience that. Other than that, I think it's more so like, you know, for anybody that's ever had to file like FMLA paperwork or any of that kind of stuff, I just need prayers to not stress about that, because I'm so lost on how all of that works. And I'm having a really hard time in terms of communication with individuals at my work that I'm supposed to be communicating. So I really want to be able to like not stress about it, but I also have no idea how any of this stuff works, because I've obviously never had to use it. So I think just prayers that I can just focus on what I do have control on, and focus on things that like I know what I need to do, and then, you know, hope that everything goes well thereafter.
Yeah. Can I give you a little suggestion that might help, and it might not, but you won't know until I tell you?
Let me. I'm gonna read you with my eyes.
Okay, read me with your eyes. Wait, do you want to see? Do I need to read you with my butt? Just kidding.
Talk to me with your butt. Yeah.
So first, Jessica, I'm gonna say whenever I have to fill out FMLA paperwork, I'm always like, FMLA.
Yeah, FML.
Anyway, so that's the first thing. And the second thing that I'm learning is that my brain, and maybe your brain's the same, cannot process a whole bunch of information given to you at one time. So if there's any way that you could make it, like break it into small manageable chunks, I don't know how you can do that, but
yeah, it's more so like I just don't understand the process of how all of it works. Like FMLA, I understand like there's 12 weeks that I'm eligible for, but anyways, there's just so much that's going on. Like then there's also family paid family leave and baby bonding, and like that's separate.
Yeah.
But so there's just a lot that I'm trying to find the answers to, and I'm having a really hard time getting that clarification.
Yeah.
So
is it clarification on like what the policy is at your work, or is it like more understanding the paperwork and what's happening?
All I know
is it both?
The FMLA paperwork, I've done what I can do with it.
Okay, and now
other people.
It's in someone else's court?
The paid family leave, I can't do anything with that until I have a birth certificate.
Okay. Okay. All right. So then I would say, I mean, it's easier said than done, but like you don't have to worry about that because you've done everything that you can do.
Yeah. So
give it to God.
Yeah. So if anybody works in HR or anything like that, feel free to contact Methodist Madness as you know.
Craig doesn't work in HR, but he does have a very technical brain that he might be willing to lend you if it's okay with him. So just let me know if it's stuff that needs to be explained in terms that are simpler. He has to do that for me all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I've been to any of the.
Let me know. He wrote what I like to call an 8-page research paper for one of our church members who needed to be walked through the process of like how to get different advertising for her website or something. And it made me laugh so hard because I was like, Craig, would you be willing to do this? You don't have to if you don't want to. It's totally your idea. And then he was like, yeah. And then I think he spent his evening like doing the research and putting it together. And I just thought that was so funny how he just effortlessly did that. And I would be like, I don't want to do this for anybody. But like, that's his job really, is like understanding technical processes for the computer and then like writing up like technical reports for that kind of thing. So
yeah,
if it's like a figuring out like language and stuff like that, or maybe he has information or knows what that kind of policy is, even though we've never had to use it, but I can ask him and see like, just let me know.
Yeah.
If you need Craig, I'll prepare him in case you do ask, or see if he's even willing, but sorry.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Anyway.
I mean, so that's my prayer request. And
all right.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica.
There's definitely praying for you.
Yeah.
Answer on its way. Who knows?
Yeah.
All
right. Well, on that note.
So this was a really fun episode.
Oh.
But we're gonna have more and more like episodes about the Lenten. Yeah. So that's great.
Tim,
very cool.
Lots of fun to come. It's so
Tim, I just decided on the spot that since I'm giving you the Lenten moment, you are now in charge of the stuff that I do for the podcast. So for the next 6 weeks, you have to say what I say at the end of the episode. And go.
Oh, really? Yeah. Stay mad, you Methodist.
Different places, we all have different names. No matter what life brings us, Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness.